As you know that we have discussed about the Primavera P6 project portfolio management and have learned the basic architecture already. Also, we have described the project management lifecycle in our previous lesson. Okay, so moving forward, in this lesson, we are going to discuss the Primavera P6 core concepts and we'll discuss about the organizational breakdown structure or OBS and enterprise project structure as well. Then we'll see and learn about the work breakdown structure, project activities, and we'll go through the resources as well. Okay, now let's start and refresh our mind and let's discuss the concepts of project, program, and portfolio that we have already discussed and learned in our previous lectures. Remember that we said that a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And we said that also that the program is a group of related projects and are managed centrally. We also know that the portfolio consists of projects that are not related, the programs, and the sub-portfolios. Remember, we said that the portfolio will always stay at the top in hierarchy. I mean, we'll have portfolio at the top, then we'll have program, and then in the bottom we'll have projects. Please note that in program we have set of projects that are related, but remember the projects that are not related will be part of the portfolio only. Then let's start with the organizational breakdown structure or OBS. Please remember that whenever we are discussing about a project, program, and portfolio, and you note that we are breaking down the work that is going to be performed into like a hierarchy. The organizational breakdown structure or OBS, it's a global hierarchy that represents the managers that are responsible for the projects in our organization. Now you please note that the OBS usually reflects the management structure of our organization from top level employee down through all levels. Please remember, and it's very important to learn that the organizational breakdown structure is a hierarchical decomposition of any organization into divisions, departments, teams, and remember, then in the teams we have roles. That means it's a hierarchy of people. The OBS breaks down the hierarchy of people that actually will be responsible for doing the work on the project where they are assigned. In other words, we can say that the organizational breakdown structure or OBS, it defines how the people within a company are organized and what rights and access they have within the projects they are working on. Important to note that the OBS is simply a hierarchy of the people actually responsible for the project work. And that's the main function of the OBS. I guess it's better, and let's take some example to understand this concept. Let's assume that we are working for a telecommunication company called Arba Telecom, and the Arba Telecom's investment portfolio consists of the following divisions, which are research and development, fixed and mobile networks, software and hardware services, network operations, and information technology. Now, every department or division is responsible for managing their own respective projects or programs or set of related projects in the organization. Now, if we look at our network operations division within the Arba Telecom, and let's assume here that the network operations division is responsible for carrying out all the network operations related projects and specific programs within the Arba Telecom. So further, let's divide our network operation division into the respective teams or departments. So now the network operation division is divided further into 4 departments or teams. Now please note that here every team is headed by the project's head for executing all the projects within their own specific department. I mean to say that every department within the Network Operations Division, Network Implementation Department, Configuration Management Department, Voice and Data, and the Microwave Transmission Department. These are responsible for executing all the projects within their own specific department or domain. Now here, every department is separately headed by one project's head. So that means we have 4 project heads working within the Network Operations Division. And each project's head is responsible for carrying out the project's work within his or her own department. Now, depending on the project scope and size, the project's head will assign one person as a project manager from his team who will be responsible for that particular project. Now, you please note that, again, it depends upon the organization's own settings, project scope and size, that the project manager will be finally managing the work packages. Or we can have another individual from the project team as a project supervisor who is normally responsible for every work package or WBS element in the project. By the way, do you know what are the work packages? Please note that we always divide or break down our project work into small sections or portions that we normally refer to as work breakdown structure elements, or we simply call them as work packages. Don't forget that these work packages are also called as end result or deliverables. Important to remember that we further divide these WBS elements or work packages into activities. And then the work on these activities are normally carried out by the individual team members within the project team. Now, from this discussion, I'm sure you are now very well aware of the OBS concept, that it's a hierarchy. Now, important to remember the hierarchy, and don't forget to note down the difference here. Please learn the concept. We have portfolio at the top, then we have programs, after that we have project, and then we break down our project work into work breakdown structure or WBS. We can call them WBS elements or work packages, and these WBS elements or work packages are divided further into activities. All break down the work. We are breaking down the project work here. Now, if we look at the organizational breakdown structure or OBS, as you see here from the hierarchy, we have divisions where we have project head, then we have departments where we have project manager, then we have project teams, and we have project supervisor here managing the project teams. And after that, we have team members who are actually working on these individual activities to complete the work of WBS elements or work packages that are also called as deliverables or end results. In other words, OBS breaks down the people, and these people or the team members are the ones who actually will be doing the work and will complete every project activity as per the project requirements. So in summary, the WBS identifies the work, while the OBS on the other hand identifies the people to do the work. I'm positive, and I hope that the OBS concept you have understand this very well now. It's time to move to another very important Primavera P6 core concept, which is called Enterprise Project Structure or EPS. Please note that the EPS have a hierarchical structure. That means the Enterprise Project Structure or EPS represents a tree of information. Please note that generally the Primavera P6 users have access to a large database that contains all the projects and related information of our company. Since the information is huge and we have thousands of projects in our Primavera P6 database, so that's why this project information must be arranged in such a way so that it should allow individuals to access this information quickly and accurately. In addition to this, the Primavera P6 users must be able to review the project data at the level appropriate for their role and other specific questions they need to answer or work on. Okay, so this large database of projects is arranged in a hierarchy, which is called as the Enterprise Project Structure or EPS. So if you can recall from our previous discussion that we have projects first and then a program, and you know that a program represents a group of related projects, and you know that we can always create a subprogram under a program. Now the key point here, it is that the EPS here looks similar like the programs, since the EPS consists of the projects that are related, and the idea is that all the projects under an EPS, under an EPS node, always have the common characteristics and are usually managed by the same team. Important to note that the EPS can be subdivided into as many levels or nodes as needed to handle the projects in your particular organizational setup. So please remember that the important thing here is that similar like program, we can also create any number of sub-EPS under a certain EPS node. Now, you please note that the projects always represent the lowest level of the hierarchy, and every project must be included in a certain EPS node. And these nodes at the highest are root level. These might represent divisions within your company, project phases, site locations, or other major groupings that meet the needs of our organization. So from this discussion, we can say that the EPS also looks similar to the program, and both EPS as well as program have the projects at the lower level. And in both cases, in EPS as well as in program, we can create the subnodes as needed. But here we have to remember that the EPS always represent and will always be at the top level in the Oracle Primavera P6. And we can subdivide the EPS to many EPS levels as required by the number and size of the projects as per our organizational needs. I think this can be explained better through an example. Okay, then let's have an example of a large commercial airplane manufacturing company called AeroArba. Remember from our previous lesson that the portfolio stays normally at the top of the hierarchy. So in our example, our company called AeroArba is the portfolio. Now in general, in any airplane manufacturing setup, depending on the type of the work and activities, we can divide and classify the work into many divisions or programs as needed. For example, we have engineering division where we can perform all the engineering work related to the mechanical and electrical parts manufacturing. And here we also deal with the different parts operational faults as needed. Next, there is another division called Research and Development Division, where normally we carry out the research work on the advancement of overall airplane technologies in order to build the more advanced airplanes so that the passengers can have more safe and comfortable air travel experience in the future. Now, beyond that, we have the Operations Division, where we deal with the routine airline operational related activities in the company. And then finally, the Information Technology or IT Division, which is normally used to provide all the IT services that are needed for the different divisions and departments in the organization. The AeroArba, it consists of engineering, research and development, which is called as R&D, then operations division, and information technology division. Please remember that we can further classify these divisions that are called programs into subdivisions or subprograms. Now, for example, if we take the engineering division and then we can further divide this engineering division into subdivisions or departments such as electrical, mechanical, and navigation departments. Now, the electrical department, where we handle all the electrical parts in the airplane, such as air condition and lighting, etc. Then of course the mechanical department, and that's where we deal with the mechanical parts such as repair and maintenance of the airplane engines. And after that, the navigation department, which is responsible for handling all the electronic and communication related activities and issues in the airplane. Now, from all this discussion, the key point to remember here it is that every division can be divided and can be classified into subdivisions. I mean, under a program, we can further classify and can have many subprograms as required by our project requirements. Similarly, please also note that the enterprise project structure or EPS further can be classified into sublevels and which are also called as nodes. And please note that in any enterprise project structure or EPS, we have the parent EPS nodes and the child EPS nodes as well. So in summary, EPS and programs are similar in a way that both can be classified into sublevels and both have a group of similar related projects. And please remember, they have hierarchical breakdown structure. So remember that EPS always deal with a related group of related projects, while the OBS on the other hand, it talks about the people that are responsible for managing the project. And that means EPS consists of projects and the OBS, it consists of the divisions or the units within any certain organization that is responsible for managing their projects. Okay, so at this stage, we have covered the two very important Primavera P6 concepts that are OBS and EPS, I mean the organizational breakdown structure and enterprise project structure. The organizational breakdown structure or OBS is a hierarchy that can have divisions, departments, teams, and the team members. In fact, OBS breaks down the people, and the people are the one that will be actually doing the project work. While on the other hand, the enterprise project structure or EPS is also a hierarchy that represents portfolio, programs, and the projects. So the EPS breaks down the work, and we also know that both the EPS and programs are similar in a way that they both have project at the lower end. Now let's move forward and learn another core concept called work breakdown structure or WBS. Now please note that WBS is also a hierarchy where the project is at the highest level. Then we have WBS or work packages, and after the activities at the end. So we can say that a work breakdown structure or WBS is a hierarchical arrangement of the products, services, or end result that are produced as the project progresses. In other words, the WBS breaks down the project work into smaller sections or parts, which are also called as the work packages. That means the work package or WBS element is the individual deliverable or end result that we need to complete as the project work move on. Now let's recall what we have learned from our previous lecture where we discussed about the portfolio, program, and the project. Now if you can remember, we have learned that the portfolio always stay at the top. Then we have programs, and after that down we have projects. As you know that program is a group of related projects. Now please note that the program only have those projects that are related. I mean they have common characteristics. And please remember that the projects that are not related, these are moved directly under the portfolio. Now, next, the projects are further broken down into more manageable small sections or parts that are called the WBS elements, or we can simply refer to them as work packages. Now remember, we said that these WBS elements are work packages that represents the deliverable or end results that we have to achieve as the project progresses. So what we have learned from all this discussion, that work breakdown structure or WBS, it is basically breaking the project down into small sections or parts that are called as the WBS elements. Let's take an example to understand this further. Let's assume that you work for a famous car manufacturing company and you are assigned to work on a new project called Project Alpha, and you are asked to manage the project and manufacture a brand new small 1000cc family car within a year time. Now, you please remember that you cannot do this at once, but first you will have to plan and break down your project work into small sections or parts. For example, first you will need to complete the structural and body work, and after you will complete the body paint work, and then you will finish the car interior work, and after your team will fix the car engine and wheel alignment and final inspection, etc., and then your car is ready. So this example shows us that in fact the WBS or work breakdown structure, it helps us to break down the project work into smaller parts which are called WBS elements or work packages. Now you please remember for our discussion that these WBS elements are the end result or the deliverables that we have to complete to achieve our overall project objectives. Okay, and next we will be discussing about the project activities now. As you know that once our project is broken down into small sections that are called WBS elements, then remember that we said that these individual WBS elements represent the project deliverables or end results. Now, in order to complete these deliverables, we further divide these WBS elements into very small efforts that are called activities. In other words, activities represent the small efforts that we need to complete for completing the deliverable or what we call the WBS elements that are present in the project work breakdown structure. Now, by having said that, the activities are further decomposition of WBS elements into smaller actions that are necessary to complete the work on the WBS elements. Now, please think, and what's the difference between a WBS element and an activity? Kindly keep this into your mind that the WBS elements are deliverables or the end results. On the other hand, the activities are the small actions that we need to complete in order to achieve or complete these deliverables as the project move on. So in simple terms, the activities are further breakdown of the WBS elements into specific actions needed to have the deliverables or end results. I hope you are clear with the concept of WBS elements and the activities now. Now let's talk about the project resources. As you know, we have said that the project is divided into small and more manageable sections that are called WBS elements, and these WBS elements are referred as the deliverables or the end product of the project. And so we need to complete the work on the deliverables as the project progresses. Now next, to complete the work for the deliverable or WBS elements, we need to divide these WBS elements into more smaller actions that are called activities. Please note that to complete these small actions, we need to work on the project activities. Then who performed the work on these activities? Can you tell me? In fact, the work is performed by one of the members from the project team. So this clearly shows us that to complete the activities, we need resources. Now, please note that the project resources can be in the form of people, material, or equipment. Okay, so that means in order to complete work on these activities within the permitted time frame, we have to assign the appropriate resources to every project activity that we have in our project. And whenever you assign resources, there is a cost involved. And please don't forget that these resources may have limited availability as well. In short, please note that we need resources to complete the work on a certain project activity. Please remember that these resources can be in the form of people, material, or machines depending upon the project deliverables. I will discuss this in more details sometime later in the course. Okay, let me remind you of the main points that we have covered so far. Please remember that the project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create the unique product, service, or a result. And we have learned that the project management is the science of getting things done. Now, as per the PMI, project management is defined as it's the application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. Next, the portfolio is defined as the group of programs and sub-portfolios, and it can include the projects that are not related. I mean the projects that do not have the common characteristics. We have also discussed that the program, it consists of the group of related projects and are managed centrally. Also, as you have learned that the Primavera P6 is the project portfolio management application mainly used for the project schedule management. We have studied about the EPS or Enterprise Project Structure, OBS or Organizational Breakdown Structure. You know that both EPS and OBS are having the hierarchical structure. OBS talks about the people who are actually responsible for doing the project work. OBS is broken down into divisions, departments, teams, and the team members. And of course, we can also assign the appropriate roles as per our project requirements. Now, the EPS is basically, it talks about the projects. So the EPS discusses the work in particular. As you know that EPS consists of the group of related projects. I mean the EPS represents the group of projects that are having the common characteristics. Further, a project is divided into small parts that are called WBS elements, which we can further refer to them as deliverables or end results. Now, in order to achieve these project deliverables, we further divide these WBS elements in smaller actions that are called activities. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching and we'll meet in the next lesson.